Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Cherise and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy. So I am Natalie Elliott, if you guys don't know me by now, and I am a private practice building coach. I've ran my own private practice for about 13 years now. I'm a certified sex therapist, a licensed licensed professional counselor, and a licensed marriage and family therapist. So, usually, my podcast buddy Cherise is with me tonight. I didn't check my cell phone to see if she sent me any text messages. So I'm not sure if she'll be joining us or not. But I am very excited to be here with you guys tonight because I want to really talk to you and encourage you because that's what I've needed over the last week. And so let's talk about that. All right. So if some of you guys have been listening or tuning in, I don't know, I can't remember in what month I said it, but it was around May, June that I really realized that my business was not hitting the numbers that it needed to be hitting for the age that it is. And part of that reason is because I had stopped marketing. So the pandemic came, I really just stopped all kind of marketing for two reasons. A, the pandemic gave us an excuse not to go out and market. And B, the pandemic had people reach out to their therapists. And so I had clients calling me from years ago, and our practices was built. Like I remember May of, I think that was 2021, feeling very burnt out from all of the hours that we were doing and trying to help people cope with the pandemic. So, of course, if I'm fighting burnout, that was not the time to build a practice. And then it feels like my practice grew accidentally, which is so funny how it feels. I never thought I'd be the person who said that. And I found myself this year, as we're coming out of pandemic, having four associates in like May, June, July. Like, oh my God, I have four associates. Two of my interns had graduated and they stayed on, keeping their existing clients. And then I already had two associates. And then I had an intern, and I have a new intern starting in September. So because of that, I very much felt the need to build my numbers up. Basically, I got more mouths to feed and to get fed. And so I really needed to bump my numbers up. And then simultaneously, my expenses increased. And so I was really feeling financially crunched. So I really came up with a marketing plan to get out there and start marketing again. And I did start marketing again. And my expectation is that when I start marketing, I usually see results in about 3 to 4 months. And so I started that in June, July, August, it's mid-September. And so last week, I really expected to see my numbers, even though it really had only been 3 months. And I told myself 3 to 4 months, I really expected to see my numbers change and grow. And I just wasn't seeing that. It said like we were holding consistent. And it really felt like I was putting in time, effort, energy, money, and my numbers were not growing. And so last week I was feeling very, very like defeated. And do I even want to do a group practice? Because it is harder to build a group practice versus build myself. And I don't know if it's really harder or is it I'm just learning how to build a group practice versus or how to fill up a group practice versus what I need to do to fill up as an individual. And so for me, looking back, because I've been doing this, 13 years now, so building myself and building my name seemed very easy. Now, looking back, hindsight being 2020. So first time around, I probably was crying. Matter of fact, I was crying the first time around. So coming up to this new level of building a whole group practice, which means the amount of referrals that it takes. And I'll say we have enough referrals to keep 3 people busy, 3 people, 3 clinicians, with a full to semi-full caseload. We don't have enough referrals to keep 6. So basically, I need to double the amount of referrals that I need have coming into my practice, like double the amount of phone calls, make sure that we're booking every client that calls, because I always want you guys to know if a client is calling you, they want to work with you. And so now it's you who's figuring out how to work with them to get them, because they're looking for, they're calling a private practice, if they're calling for counseling services, they're looking for counseling services. And so you just want to make yourself available to be the one that they say yes to. And so we want to make sure we're closing, I would say if not 100% of our calls, you want to be closing, I think 80% of your phone calls. And so in tracking that, matter of fact, tonight, man, Cherise is not going to show up. Tonight might be a good night. Oh, I don't have everything ready to do a master class on the numbers that you need to track, but I will do that. I will do that. I promise I will show you guys the numbers that you need to track when you're building a practice, period. So I lost my train of thought and having 5 thoughts. So building a group practice, literally doubling my numbers, which I came up with a marketing plan. It's now mid-September. Last week, I just felt like my numbers were not changing. And it put me in a funk. It put me in a place of, oh, I'm not growing. And despite it so it made me feel very much as if like I was treading water and not like swimming and make progressions. Like I was doing all of this work to stay in one place. So it's feeling stuck, like I need to grow and I can't figure out how to grow. And so all of these different things. And so thank God for tracking my business numbers and business consultation. And so I was in my business consultation, group coaching, whatever you want to call it, group. And what we figured out in that group, that I wasn't alone, and a lot of private practices are feeling a numbers crunch, like it isn't as easy to feel. We do believe, and I've said this before probably, that BetterHelp, the franchises that are coming in and the big box stores that are coming in is making it harder for us private practices to get the clients that we used to get. I believe that the way to do that is to boutique up your business. And so boutique your business. And so I'll be talking more about that in the future as I finish the ebook on how to boutique your business. I believe that's the answer. But I personally had forgotten that. So when I was on the group consultation call, praise God, first of all, she normalized it for me. Building a group practice is harder than building an individual practice. So that felt like, oh, thank God that I'm not making it up, that it is actually feeling harder. All right. 2, she normalized for me what was going on with the market, that it is feeling harder to build our practices than it did 10, 13 years ago for me. And so she normalized that. Then she reminded me, and I don't know how I forgot this, you cannot expect a return on your marketing investment until you have contacted, seen, touch is a nice word, your potential referral source or client or new client 7 to 9 times. So if I'm going out and cold calling a doctor's office, which I was, and I remember, I don't know if y'all remember me saying, hey, next week I'm going to get out there and really start marketing. So I did do that. I've been doing that. And I went to multiple doctor's offices, but 2 I really hit it off with. Like I felt like they needed my services. They had clients, like they verbally said, I have a client in which I can send to you. And let's see, I feel like that happened like a month ago, 2 months ago. And so I fully, even though I had only come in contact with each of these doctor's offices 3 times a piece, I really felt like those numbers should be showing up in my bottom line, and they just were not. And so I was really getting frustrated. And like, if I'm putting so much time, energy, and effort to this, why isn't my bottom line changing? Like I'm really working to change that bottom line. It should be. Like this business is not rocket science. It's not. One of the coaches I actually follow on Instagram talks about business should be very boring. And so it's input equals output. And so I was feeling like if I'm inputting this time, effort, energy, money, and I'm not getting the output, what's wrong? And so I had been bouncing several ideas around of like, what do I need to do differently? Old fashioned network marketing, like getting out there, pounding the pavement isn't working anymore. What's going on? And so we talked about a couple of ideas in my business consultation group. So thank you, my business consultation group, for like normalizing it and then reminding me that it's 7 to 9 touches. And so I'll continue to work with those doctor's offices and just keep until I reach that 9. But we reviewed my numbers this Tuesday because with my office manager, we review our numbers every Tuesday because, of course, we're trying to build the business and we're looking to see if we're improving and growing our numbers. And so every Tuesday, we review our numbers and what they look for the last week. So I specifically have her pull last week's numbers on Monday, and then we review those on Tuesday morning. And so I broke through. So it was so funny to me that a week later, that after I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So this whole past week, like, I'm not growing, I'm stuck, I'm stagnant, I can't do like just ever so melodramatic. And then to realize that my numbers actually did change today. And so we broke a number, which was kind of my first benchmark to make sure. So to our next level. So I still feel like, so let me try to give you guys some numbers. So the capacity for my practice, let me give you a number. Let's say the capacity for my practice, just to kind of give you some idea of where I'm at and where I'm trying to get to. If I sat down, let's say the capacity for my practice is to be able to earn 100,000. That's not my number, but I want us to use that. Okay. My practice has absolutely kind of consistently been operating at, let's say, the $40,000 level. And so I identified this number because I know my numbers. And so I know what the capacity for my practice is because I know what the average hourly is for each associate. And so based on the amount of hours that they can work and their average hourly, my average hourly, then I can predict or I can tell you what is possible for us to make. And so knowing that number and looking where we are, we're at like 40% capacity or 40% earnings. Okay. So 60% I had to grow. And so this week I just got up to 50%. Which was huge for me because it was feeling like I couldn't break out of that 40%. Now, again, I did not market all of the pandemic. And it was amazing that with no marketing for maybe even 3 to 5 years, because I'm not sure, I didn't like stop marketing at the pandemic, but the pandemic made it real convenient for me not to market. So I may have not been marketing or doing anything to grow my business for the last 5 years. And so now that I'm actively doing it again, I do see my numbers growing. The purpose of me telling you this story is to share a win, because you guys are my people. And so I want to make sure I'm sharing a win with you and you know what's going on in my life. Also, I want you to be encouraged with your marketing efforts. And I want to remind you of those very basic marketing principles that even I myself had forgotten. And so 1, be consistent. So don't ever stop marketing. If you need to make your marketing more evergreen, that's great. But you always want to have some component of marketing. Eventually, like right now, I'm in a growth. So I'm doing a lot of like marketing. But eventually you kind of want to have your marketing automatic, to where it's very planned out. You know, at the beginning of the year, all your marketing efforts, that you have varied marketing efforts that feel very easy for you to execute. And so I think maybe one day we need to talk about the different types of things you can do to market. So you can market online. I always want my people to have an online marketing method and an offline marketing method. Um, so one of my online marketing methods is for my coaching practice is this podcast and recording that we're doing. That's very much online, building my name online, giving you guys, I hope you feel like it's great free content so that so that you can build and you get to know my voice and my personality and what I want for you. So that's the goal. In my private practice, which is Atlanta Sex Therapy, when you come to the website, we offer you like a free tips. And so by coming to the website, you sign up for that free tips mailer, which is me on video. And then that mailer puts you into a evergreen email cycle, which continues to market. So that's my online passive strategy for Atlanta Sex Therapy. We've also, for Atlanta Sex Therapy, have started to do a podcast for that so that people will get an experience of each of the clinicians. So that's the goal for the podcast. So again, that's the online marketing. And y'all, a podcast in all of my research for podcasts, the number of years it takes to really have a podcast produced is about 3 years. And so this is a very long-term strategy that hopefully will produce for years to come. And so the wonderful thing about a podcast is you put it out there and people may not discover it for a year or two, but when they do, they'll go back and listen to all of your podcasts. I do that with some people. So it's a couple of people that I just found out about, but I want to know them. I want to know their voice. I really want to know, I want to learn from them before I actually pay money. And so I'll get on a 2-week binge of like only listening to their podcast until I've made it through all of the episodes and catch up. And so that's the benefit. So I'm listening to a couple of podcasts that was started years ago, but I just got there, but I'll just listen to the voice. And so that's the benefit of podcasts. But that's a nice online strategy, but it's a long-term online strategy. A quick online strategy would be like Facebook ads, Google AdWords, and those things. And so I always want people to have an online and offline marketing strategy. An offline marketing strategy could be you running a workshop in your specialty area. It could be paid or non-paid. That's a nice way to market your practice, to market yourself. I'd say, depending on how fast you want to build, is how often you want to do it. And so if you're at the beginning and you're building from scratch, you may want to do a workshop once a month or even once a week, or something in between. And so like one of my interns right now, we have her doing a workshop every 3 weeks. And so that kind of works in her schedule. Once a month didn't feel like it was too far if we're trying to build, but to accommodate into her schedule with her schoolwork and her full-time job and everything, 2 weeks felt too rushed for her. So we went with 3. And so even though we're doing it online, why do I consider that a in-person pound the pavement? Okay, but because it's still a workshop and we're giving free information and people are working with her. For whatever reason, I don't consider that online. I consider it more of a pound the pavement. I think because of direct people interaction that she's having. So that's a marketing strategy that we have. So running a workshop, actually networking and meeting and greet people, which you can do that so many ways. So you can call up another therapist and ask them to come out for coffee with you. You can literally go to various marketing events. You can go to business marketing, the Chamber of Commerce. And so where you're actually getting out and actually meeting people, that should be part of your marketing strategy. And so you can pass out free audios of maybe where you're doing hypnotherapy with a person, let's say a friend, family, maybe a cousin who wants to be an aspiring actress. Um, and of course, get there for permission. Of course, this is going to be for entertainment purposes only. But that would be a really good way for you to like, I know people don't pass out CDs anymore, but maybe an audio download and give out something for free so people can get an idea of you, a taste of you. And so that's called Pink Spoon Marketing. So I want to give Casey Truffaut the credit for Pink Spoon Marketing, which is giving people a small taste of you so that they'll want to buy more of you if they like your flavor. So all that to say is I'm excited. I feel so much better. And if you have been struggling with your marketing, I want to encourage you to let you know that actual marketing actually does work. That before you consider it a failure, please make sure that if it's something in person, that you've had 9 touches with them. I think even if you have somebody on an email list, you don't expect to receive that client converting, that person off your email list converting into a client until they've gotten at least 9 emails from you, and maybe did a consultation with you or something. And so knowing that it's sowing the seed and it takes time. I know that like Google AdWords and Facebook AdWords, they do work pretty fast, but you got to put the money into them. And you need to know before you just hire an agency you need to have done a little bit of research for yourself, because there are a lot of agencies because they don't understand the mental health field and the mental health client, they'll sell you, we can get you on the first page of Google, or we can do this and we can do that. And you'll put the money into it and you may not get the return. So I do want you to make sure you're educated a little bit so you can say, what are the keywords you have for me? What is the competition on those keywords? Where can I get in? And so the wonderful thing about mental health or being online is, I don't think people are Googling mental health counselor. And so there are a lot of little things that they are Googling for that you can help with. So our blog post is a nice online way to market with keywords in it. Our social media with keywords in it. We can really niche down, which is what I mean when I say boutique it up. It's really niche. And so let me educate on that a little bit. And so I believe right now in the mental health field, because of the franchises, because of the big box stores, Walmart, CVS, because of the franchises, box stores, and online services, that the way private practices are going to survive, and AI, however that's going to change the industry, is for us to be highly specialized. For me, when I say boutique it up or be highly specialized, I want you to have a person and a problem that you solve, so that when people are Googling, they see themselves or they see their problem. So the example of a person would be a teacher. I help teachers. That narrows it down. And so when your website says, I help teachers, like teachers are going to come. Now, that's specializing in a person. So teachers, that would be example. I help mental health therapists. I help female doctors. And so kind of really narrowing it down as to who you help, then the problem that you help with. Now, if boutiquing it all the way up and specializing in a person and a problem is too much for you, too scary for you, then you can just do a person or you can just do a problem. So a problem might be, I help people with the trauma from car crashes. I help people with medical trauma. I help people who are scared of driving. I help people recover from relationships. I help people get married. And so see how that problem is very specific. Now, it is most powerful when you combine the two. I help teachers with workplace stress. I help teachers develop classroom management. I help, who did I say? Car accidents. I help teens who have been in car accidents. And so when you highly specialize, and that person with that problem hears you, they're going to come to choose you. Um, and I think that's where we can really highlight our services and stand out in the marketplace, where when you turn on the TV, there's a BetterHelp commercial on every commercial break. Like, how do you stand apart? That's how you stand apart. I help doctors who can't sleep. Perfect, right? Um, so how many, how many people can't sleep? And then to help doctors, because a lot of doctors, because of their shift schedules and residency and studying schedules and everything, have very poor sleep habits when they are like out in the world and finally have a 9 to 5, which could be very later in their career. And so that's something to specialize in. And so when they're up in the midnight Googling how to sleep better, ways to sleep better, and your thing comes up, I help doctors who sleep better in your area. They're going to say, oh my God, that's me. What does that therapist know that I need to know? But they're talking about me and my problem. Okay. So that's what I mean by boutique it up. Okay. I think that's all I have for you tonight. So keep on keeping on. Please keep on keeping on. I wish somebody would have told me that succinctly last week. Don't feel like your marketing efforts are not working until you know you've had 7 to 9, depending on what coach you listen to, but 7 to 9 touches or contacts with the person / a potential client / a potential resource. Know that business is not complicated, even though it feels complicated at times. But it's not. There are solutions. You are not the first person who has done this. So make sure you have a support system. Make sure you're talking to other people in your field. Make sure you have. So my business consultant, Dr. Becky Beaton, if anybody's ever heard of her, I've listened to her, and she has a business coach. She has an accountant, a lawyer, what else is like a therapist. And I know she has a medical doctor, but she has all of this support around her. And I've just looked at her throughout the years to say, okay, having a support team around you will really help you rock it out year after year after year after year after year. And so I've heard her talk about when she's had a particular challenge. I talked about it with my therapist. I've talked about it with my business coach. Because so many times in business, it's very emotional, right? And even though I strive to take the emotion out of my business decisions, it's hard to do. And so a business person, I think if I was a better business person last week, I would have just said, okay, let me take a step back. What is expected with my marketing? Have I hit all of the things that I'm supposed to do? Is it time for me to see the numbers? Actually, darling, you're only 3 months in, and you said 3 to 4 months in. So can we reserve the emotion back until we get 4 months and really look at what we're doing? And have you had 9 touches of these things? And I think if I could have done that, I wouldn't have been such an emotional mess. But a lot of our business decisions are emotional. And so working on that to make sure that we're looking at our business and our actions objectively, making sure that we are paying attention to the numbers, and having a support system around you so that, like, I'm so thankful that I had my business consultation group to rein me back in. And so I say, because they reined me back in, that gave me the encouragement to go on. And then because I went on literally one more day after I talked to them, I literally saw my numbers change. Which I'm still so thankful. I'm like, praise God. Hallelujah. 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 I really need to say that 3 times. Because it's how, like, yeah, literally. When my assistant told me what my numbers were for last week, that we had finally hit that next number, I literally broke down crying. It was really sad. I bet she was like, okay. But because it really felt like I'd really been working at that and I wasn't getting anywhere. And so finally to see the the I want to say pendulum shift or the thing, like it really did my heart good to do that. So stay encouraged, watch your numbers, make sure you are fully executing your marketing before you dive into judgment of what you're doing. If you need to consult with me right now, DM me on LinkedIn. And so I seem to get those messages fast. Um, Facebook, I must not have Facebook Messenger because I don't seem to get those. But DM me on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn, DM me on LinkedIn. If we need to do a consultation, if you just need an encouraging word, if you need to run your marketing plan by somebody out loud, like, hey, Natalie, this is what I'm doing to market my private practice. What do you think? Like, I have no problem jumping on the phone with you, as long as I have the time, like 20 minutes for you just to say it out loud and to give you some encouragement and to just ask like the good questions. Okay, so why do you think they should be referring to you already? And so, for example, I was telling my consultation group, like, I really, these doctors' offices, I feel like know me. Like I've gone in there, I've taken them donuts, like I've literally like set up and talked to everybody in the doctor's office. Like they should, I felt like they should know me. But the rule of thumb is 9 times. And so even though I feel like they should know me because now I know their practices, they shouldn't. And I could be one of 20 therapists who are coming in there, even though I feel like I'm special. So having somebody ask you those questions is a lifesaver, like literally. It really, or at least an emotional saver. I may not say my life, but it did save my emotions, which felt really, really life-saving there for a moment. Um, yeah. Okay. So y'all can't hear me, but I can't hear you guys the way we have it set up. And so if you have any specific questions, again, DM me on LinkedIn. I do respond to those. And I look forward to hearing from you. Stay encouraged. Um, know your boring business basics and keep on keeping on. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Jungle.